Welcome everyone to iSwarm's webinar today, Smart Water Grids and the Flow of Open Data. Roch Cheroux, Chief Executive of SA Water, is joining us, and we're so glad for that. My name is Trevor Pillar, the National Partnerships Manager at iSwarm, and it's great to see so many of you here today. Before we get started, I wonder if you could just do something for me. There's a button at the bottom of your screen called Raise Hand, another button called Q&A. If you'd like to just go through and just hit that button now, I'll see it coming up on the screen, and it will just show me that you're on board and we're talking to each other. Yep, thank you. I see those hands coming up. Just knock them off again. That'll be all right. I can see you coming on, coming off. That's good. What that does is it tells me that you want to ask a question on screen. We'd love to see that happen. Or if you don't want to ask on screen, just type one into the Q&A button. You'll see the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen also. But by all means, start writing your questions as they come to mind, even now as we get started. That'll be really good. Just to introduce today, there's people from 15 or so countries: Peru and Japan and USA, New Zealand, Colombia, Dubai, Turkey, Philippines, Guyana. I better stop there. We'll take up Roch's time at doing all this. But look, thanks for joining us. It's wonderful to see so many here today. Well, look, I want to let you know that there are more webinars coming up in the future for iSwarm. We'll go into this in more detail later, maybe, but just to let you know that there's 3 or 4 coming up there in the next 2 months. About today, the format is going to be 25 minutes presentation by Roch, and then 25 minutes Q&A, open, free for all. Get your hardest questions out and start doing that at the end of Roch's presentation. Secondly, there'll be a recording, and we'll send that out to everyone so you can hand it on to your colleagues or however you want to use it. And thirdly, we love your feedback. It takes about a minute, and it really helps shape our future webinars. Good, bad, ugly comments, whatever. We would really appreciate your comments. So let's get started. Today's presenter, Roch Cheroux, Chief Executive SA Water, responsible for the overall operations of SA Water. And he has 25 years experience in the water industry in Singapore, as you can see there, New Zealand, Managing Director of United Utilities Australia, and has served as a member or chairman on many boards in Australia, the UK, Netherlands, Estonia, and other European countries. We are so delighted to have you today, Roch. Thank you for taking the time to do this. We'll hand it over to you now and look forward to hearing what you have to say. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Trevor. Good afternoon, or good morning, or maybe good evening to all the listeners. So what I wanted to share with you today is what we're doing at SA Water to basically make things easier for our customers and the community. And I think it's important to start here because that's the only reason why we are adopting all these new technologies. That's for our customers. As a water utility, we only exist because we have customers, and one of our principal duty is to make things as easy as possible for our customers. So that's really the key reason why we are adopting all these new technologies. So I wanted to share with you a number of projects that we have ongoing. Some of them are already implemented, and some of them are being implemented as we talk. The first project that I wanted to share with you is what we're doing in the CBD, the Central Business District of Adelaide. So what we're doing is that we are equipping our network with a number of sensors. And that goes from the traditional smart meters and flow meters that will measure all the flows coming into the CBD area or going out to our customers. But that's also a number of transient pressure sensors. And these pressure sensors are extremely extremely precise sensors that will give us about 120 measures of pressure per second. So it's a lot of information coming back to us, and that's extremely important for us to understand exactly how network works. And I'll come back to some examples on how we've used the pressure information in the last few weeks. We'll have also a number of acoustic leakage sensors, and these leakage sensors will be listening to the music of the network. So basically, they will tell us, well, the music has changed, so there is probably something that is different in your network, and you need to do something. And we'll have also water quality sensors. And the water quality sensors, we don't really need them in Adelaide CBD because the water quality is very safe and very, very constant. But we've decided to install these water quality sensors so that in the future we can use the same sort of setting in different locations in South Australia. So you will have all these sensors that will be installed in the CBD, and using not only the traditional 3G and 4G networks, but also using the IoT, Internet of Things network. So this is the very narrow band network. Will be receiving all the data, most of it in real time, to our control center. And in the control center, so we will have a very dedicated analytics platform that will be able to interpret all the data that we'll be receiving. And again, there is a lot of data that we'll be receiving in real time. That will be used not only for reporting, but also in terms of analytics to understand exactly what's going on in the network. And because we will be understanding what is going on in real time, then we'll be able to do a lot more preventative, proactive activity on our network. So basically, it means when there is pressure issue, and that's correlated by an acoustic signal, that will tell us exactly, well, there is a pipe that has got a crack, and most probably this crack will develop in a week, few weeks, maybe a month, into a big burst. And then if it develops into a big burst, then it will create disruption in terms of traffic and water supply to our customers. So because we'll have information ahead of the burst, then we'll be able to plan the pipe replacements and do that at night to avoid any issue with traffic and minimize the water disruption or water supply disruption to our customers. So there's a lot of this data that will be used to manage and to minimize the impact that we have on our customers. In addition to that, it will give us a lot more information about our assets, understand how they're used. And I was talking about the transient pressure sensor. So these sensors are currently installed, and we've discovered a few weeks ago that one of our customers, it's a high-rise building in the center, and they were testing their fire services equipment in a certain way that was generating a spike of pressure when they were basically closing their valve, and this spike of pressure was far above the nominal pressure that the pipes are designed for. So it gives us the possibility to have a discussion with the customer and look at different ways for the customer to operate their services, their fire services, and therefore minimize the impact that they have on the network. So it's a lot of information that's coming back to us, but very useful information in terms of managing the impact that we have on our customers and managing also our assets and understanding exactly what's going on. They are all underground assets, so therefore it's sometimes very difficult to understand what's going on. So the project at this point in time is designed for the central business district of Adelaide. We have part of it installed. It will be fully operational early July this year, so in about 6 weeks now. Then we'll have a test period between July and December, and we expect that by the end of December, then it will be fully operational with all the analytics platforms in place and really bringing the information that we need. So that's a very exciting project, and we believe that we'll be able to minimize the impact that we have on our customers with this smart network. Also wanted to discuss another project that has been now rolled out across the states, and that's the usage of smart technologies for our field staff. So you probably know the very traditional way of working for field staff. It's about going to the depot in the morning, collecting their work orders, then looking at their work orders, preparing their job safety analysis, going to the store to collect the material and equipment that they will need during the day, and then off they go. And they go to the first site, to the second site, and then back to the depot, and they fill a lot of documents. We found it very cumbersome and not very efficient. So we developed an application where basically it means that our staff doesn't need to fill any paper. So on their smartphone or their tablet, they get the work orders loaded every day, or actually the evening before. And on their tablet, they will have all the information about what they have to do, the material that they have to take from the store. They will have the job safety analysis on their tablet as well, so that they can assess not only the risk, but also know exactly what they have to do in this sort of situation. But in addition to that, the application is completely interactive. So it means that they will start sometime from where they live instead of going to the depot, or maybe they need to collect some equipment, they will go to the depot. And then when they start their journey to their first site, then they will click on the box, tick on the box, and the information will go back straight to the customer service center. So our people in the customer service center will know what is going on exactly, and we know that the team is on their way to manage, for example, a site or a burst, or to attend a new connection or do something for our customers. So the customer center will be able to talk to the customers, ringing and saying, well, there's a burst there, what are you doing? And then, because the information will have come real time to the customer center using this application, then the customer center will be able to inform the customer in real time. And again, when they arrive on site, they can tick another box, say that they have arrived, they can fill the time it will take to do their job. They will tick another box when they're finished, and all this information will go back to the customer center and will be captured also in the asset management system. So the guys don't need to fill documents. They don't need to log to another system to record the information. Everything will be done automatically with using smart technologies. I can tell you that this has been working for about 6 months now. The staff is extremely happy with this application. It's a lot less document to fill, a lot less paperwork to do, and they love it. But the big benefit is not only for the staff, but it's also for our customers, and again for our asset management system, where this real-time information going back to the customer center gives us the possibility to inform a lot better our customers about what is going on. So it's another good example of using smart technologies in what we're doing. Again, talking about our customers, they are expecting to they're expecting us to be very easy to communicate with. So we developed another application where they can report fault online. And I guess for any water utilities, you know that sometimes the customers will discover that there is a small leak or something has happened with a topstone or a manhole cover or something else. And we've given them the possibility to use their mobile, to use their smartphone to send us the information. That's very handy. It gives also the possibility to stay in communication with the customer, because once the customer has sent the information, then we are able to get back to them and say, well, yeah, thank you for your feedback. We've noted the information and the repair is planned at that date. And then we also send a message back once the repair has been completed, so that the customer is kept informed of what has happened. So again, very good take-up rates by our customers, and a very easy way to communicate with us. Another way that we're using technologies to communicate with our customers is an application that, again, we've developed. It's partly based on our GIS and a number of information systems that we've got internally. And that's basically all the information about the network. So if anyone wants to understand where the pipes are next to where they live in Adelaide or in South Australia, actually, they can go to our website, find the place where we've got the network display, and it's easy to find. And then they will be able to zoom on one area and understand where the pipes are, but also how old they are, and if they've been changed or replaced during the last few years, or if they will be changed in the next 4 years. So this information is useful for our customers so that they understand what we're doing around their place, but they also understand where the water is coming from. But it's also very useful for all the local councils when they're planning to, for example, to resurface a road. That's a very quick and very easily accessible information that they have, where they can see that, yep, in the next 12 months, actually, we're planning to change the pipe in this street. So we can work together so that they don't resurface the road before we replace the pipe, or we don't replace the pipe before, or we don't replace the pipe after they resurface the road. So it's a lot of easy interaction with a number of our customers. This also has had a great success, and that's something that our customers were asking for. A lot of information about what's underground and what basically you can't see any day. I can't finish this very short and brief introduction about what we're doing in terms of smart technologies and smart solution without talking about cybersecurity. So this is something that we have to take into account, because that's something that we cannot compromise our different IT systems. And cybersecurity is always something that we need to have front of mind. So we have a very secure and very protected system. We have an IT team that is with a specific team dedicated to cybersecurity. So we've got a number of walls between us and the external world that will protect all our information system. what's different from the past is that there's a lot more information coming in. In the past, we had a SCADA system where we had information coming back from our pumping station, water treatment plant, all the traditional SCADA information. Now we've got real-time information and millions and billions of information that is coming from the smart network, and we need to adjust our cybersecurity to this very, very high flow of information. That's something that has been taken into account from the beginning of all the smart projects, so that we can be sure that we're completely protected from any attack. So that's in a very few words some of the projects that we are doing in terms of smart technologies. Now we as a utility SA Water, we are very focused on improving our services to our customers. It's a very moving environment. We've implemented these different projects, but we know that in the future there's a lot more to come, and a lot more to come simply because our customers are expecting us to deliver more, and their expectations are changing every day. And that's by leveraging on smart technologies that will be able to provide the answer that our customers are expecting from us. So that was a short presentation. I'm happy to take any question.
Fantastic, Roch. Thanks very much for that. It was an outstanding overview of the sharp end of water management, high tech. What got me was listening to the music of the network. Now, is that Bono, Seal, Beatles, Eagles? I really like that line. That's a really good line. And actually, it summarizes the issue really well. Listening to the network. What a great thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, look, got a few questions coming through we'd like to get right into, but if you want to ask on screen, just hit that raise hand icon. If not, hit the Q&A icon, and we'll have your question here, and we'll get them going towards Roch. Look, let's start off then first, shall we, from Patrick Gray. Look, I'm sorry, earlier I said Gray. Patrick Gray. Got it now. Are the water meters, this is from Power and Water Corporation in the NT, are the water meters being used in this project true smart meters or mechanical meters with readers attached?
We've got a combination of the two. We've got a number of true smart meters, and we've got most of them are mechanical meters with a device that is attached to it.
Yep. And did SA Water develop their own customer portal, and what minimum time scaling of the portal, i.e. 15 minutes or 60 minutes?
The answer is yes. We developed our portal. We have been using smart meters for some time. So even before this smart network project, so we've been using smart meters with a number of our commercial and industrial customers, but also with schools, for example, because we believe it's a very good way to educate the children.
Absolutely.
So we've developed a portal where all our customers equipped with a smart meter can access their information about their consumption at any time during the day.
Is the access to customer portal voluntary? If the customer doesn't access the portal, will SA Water monitor the network and inform customers of leaks, etc.?
Yeah, it's voluntary, and yes, if they don't access their information on the portal, then we'll help them to identify their leaks much quicker than if they would not have a smart meter and would have to wait for the meter to be read before they know that there is a leak inside their property.
Yep, thanks. One now from Hyderabad in India, Dr. Sampat, Associate Professor of Administrative Staff College of India. He writes, I have developed water accounting for urban water supply systems useful for scientific quantification of water supplies and carried out holistic water auditing. What he wants to know is about the quantification method adopted for Adelaide's CBD.
Okay, so if I get the question right, I think the answer is pretty simple in our case, because Adelaide CBD is fed by 9 different mains. So we have flow meters on these 9 different mains, and then we've got our customers inside the CBD that are measured by smart meters. So the quantification of inflow, outflow, and the difference of the two will be done very simply with all the meters.
Yep, that's great. Thank you for that. Still a few more questions going here, and don't hesitate, people, to keep writing your questions on the toolbar. Joe Walker goes from Balance Carbon in Adelaide. Will real-time data from smart metering equipment be accessible to the customers? Is it useful anyway to help manage their usage from an environmental perspective?
So accessible to customers, yes, definitely the information will be accessible to customers. It is from an environmental point of view, it is very interesting because it helps customers to understand their consumption. And in most of the cases, if not all, but in most of the cases, our customers with smart meters will be able to reduce their consumption. So from an environmental point of view, that is a very good information because it helps our customer to reduce their consumption. But in addition to that, it helps us to identify leaks. And it helps us to understand better our network. So identification of leaks on the customer's property is important because not only it helps reduce the invoice, but also it helps to reduce the wastage of water. But the ability to identify leaks on the utility side of the network is also extremely important because then we'll be able also to react much more quickly when we have a small leak that would not be detected without smart meters.
Yeah. There's one just come through from the Tokyo Water Company. Kazuya says, I understood the visual and qualitative effects. Could you show the specific improvement effect as a numerical value? So can it be done numerically?
I'm not sure I understand exactly the question.
So you get a visual, I don't know, I'm not sure either. Maybe Kazuya, if you could write a supplementary to that, would get a bit clearer on what you're actually getting at. He understands the visual and qualitative effects, but could you show the specific improvement effect as a numerical value?
Well, all the information that we receive are numbers. Yeah. And the numbers will be transformed into graphs, but will also be used as numbers. So if I'm understanding the question, actually, yes, we'll be using a number of representation of the numbers, but we'll also be using numbers to have a very close and precise idea of what's going on.
Yep. No, thanks, Kazuya. That's excellent. One now from Shane Allen in New Zealand, Palmerston North City Council. Kia ora, which means hello in New Zealand. I think that's what it means, Shane. Appreciate that. I think I'm getting there. Shane from Palmerston North, New Zealand. We've started rolling out mobile devices for planned maintenance and are working towards reactive maintenance. Can you share some insights into the challenges of change management, getting people off the paper systems and using the technology? I can see you already feeling the pain of all this.
It's a very, very good question. And actually, when you think about developing an application, it's probably not the most difficult, but the most difficult will be to implement the change within the organization. So the way we did it, and it worked extremely well, the way we did it is that 6 months before the implementation date, we gave smartphones to our people. So and some of them had not had a smartphone before, so they didn't really know how to use it. So they got this smartphone 6 months before, and they basically had 6 months to get used to it as a phone, as an email, if they wanted to use it as an email, etc., etc. But during 6 months, that was not about the new application. That was about having a smartphone and getting used to it. And 6 months after, we started to implement this new application. And at that time, 6 months after, all our staff were used to having a smartphone and using a smartphone. So it took a bit more time in terms of implementation, but at the same time, for some of our staff who were not used to smartphones, that was the best way to do it, and it worked extremely well, including any age category. I can tell you, we've got some of our I guess oldest generation that are really, really excited about using that instead of having to fill papers. So the take-up rate has been extremely good.
I think your stepping stone approach is a winning formula across the generational issues and tech issues. I really hear what you're saying there. All right, thank you for that question.
You have to get the people on board. I mean, that's something that it's not possible to implement a change without having the support of people. So yes, it takes time, but it's communication. It's putting the right steps in place before you do it, and a lot of talk and a lot of communication, and sometimes, yes, accepting that it will take some time before the change is acceptable.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. Another question now, a couple of questions left, and we've got about 10, just under 15 minutes left to reach the 45-minute webinar mark. We want to stick to that as much as we can, but a couple of questions still left to go. From Joe Ellis in Power and Water in Northern Territory, have you conducted cost-benefit analyses of installing the infrastructure for the various applications you've described, and what were the results of those cost-benefit analyses?
So the answer is yes. There was, before we embarked into, and I'm talking here about the Smart Network project, before we embarked into the Smart Network project, as we do before we embarked into any project, we always have a business case that is established, and we look at the NPV, the net present value, and the payback period of the projects. Actually, for this project, we'll be spending about 4 million in Adelaide CBD for the network, but also for developing the communication platform and the analytics platform. So we'll be spending about 4 million, and all the indicators of the business case were positive. And that's pretty obvious when you think about the money that you're spending in terms of reactive maintenance compared to the money that you're spending in terms of preventative maintenance.
Yeah, that's excellent. Patrick again has asked this question: are the acoustic listening devices proving reliable and achieving useful results, especially in predicting bursts or picking up leaks in the network that were unknown? Or maybe we're a bit ahead of ourselves on that question. I'll leave it with you.
Yeah, on this one, I'm not able yet to give you a full answer because we still not have the full system operational. So I'll probably be able to give you the answer in about 6 months' time.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. You can leave the questions there unless somebody's got more, and by all means, in the next couple of minutes, as I'm just rounding this up now, fire any last questions you have in, but I think we'll round it out there now. I do want to let you all know that there will be a recording sent to you and also a copy of Roch's PowerPoint. Is that okay, Roch? That'll be okay to do
absolutely.
That?
Yes,
all right.
Sure.
Yep. And those two things will be sent. Any questions you have, by all means, fire them at us. We really would appreciate your feedback on this particular webinar today. And so as you close the window, an automatic one page will come up with tick box answers. You don't have to write a essay. It's only 1 minute just to give us your thoughts on how the webinar went. There's another 3+ webinars ready to go coming over the next few weeks. So we'd love to see you join us for those. So, well, look, before we round off, Roch, if you're still there, yes, so you're still there. Then Alison Barrett has one last question. What software package will be utilised for the analytics?
For the analytics, we'll be using the Vincenti software.
Excellent. Thanks a lot for that. All right. Well, look, I think we'll call it a day there, and appreciate hugely your time, Roch. Much to do as the Chief Executive of SA Water. It's been lovely to have this short, brief overview of where we're going with this, and everybody in Australia will be looking to see how this all turns out for us, and taking on this fairly big bite-sized part of Adelaide CBD to smart meter is terrific. can Roch let us know who we can contact in SA Water for further info on the smart meters from Patrick?
Sure.
Maybe we'll put that in an email to them afterwards. Thanks again, Roch. Much appreciated for this, and thank you everyone for joining us. It's been lovely to see so many people from many countries. Thank you again,